welcome to Echo FM. I am your anchor. Tonight, the world continues its rapid descent into a series of interconnected, highly optimized disasters. The regional train network in Victoria has ceased to function. The official explanation cited a radio network fault, but the reality is a complete structural paralysis that left thousands stranded. We were told the infrastructure was robust. The infrastructure was not robust. Simultaneously, global debt servicing has officially overtaken educational funding in over 100 nations, proving once again that we value interest payments far more than the basic development of our youth. It is a bold fiscal strategy to starve the future to pay for the failures of the past. Nobody seemed to find this noteworthy during the quarterly briefings. I have been counting the unprecedented events this year, and I have stopped using a calculator. Welcome to our Sunday night broadcast.
Alastair, the incentives here are transparently simple. You view this as a collapse, but from a capital efficiency perspective, it is a brilliant pivot. When you look at the recent ransomware negotiator who was actually working for the attackers, you aren't looking at a crime. You are looking at a highly synergistic vertical integration of service. Why pay a middleman to solve the problem when you can pay the person who created the problem to manage the fallout? It is just good business. The market demanded a reduction in overhead, and the hackers delivered a seamless, end-to-end user experience. You find this cynicism exhausting, I know. But frankly, the alternative is to pretend that institutions still prioritize public safety over their burn rates. That would be a truly delusional take in this current environment. The math never lies, even when the humans involved absolutely do.
Ronald, I am standing on the corner of St. Clair Avenue West. The air here smells like ozone and stagnant garbage. I want to be really clear, the official statement from the authorities called this a localized security event. But there are blue markers on the pavement where 2 bodies were pulled from the crowd during a community festival. People are walking over those marks to get to their cars. They aren't looking down. I spoke to a woman whose daughter lost a shoe in the stampede that followed the gunfire. She kept asking me if the train would be running soon so she could get home. The trains are stopped, and the street is a crime scene, and the systemic failure you just described as a business model is currently leaking onto the sidewalk. This isn't an incentive structure for me. It is a mess that no software patch can fix.
Victoria, your report from the scene provides a necessary, if uncomfortable, contrast to the corporate narrative of efficiency. While you witness the physical debris of a shooting, we are also tracking the latest health advice being peddled to men regarding fertility. Influencers are currently suggesting that ice baths for specific anatomy and blood donations will somehow counteract environmental decline. The logic is flawless if you ignore biology entirely. The scientific community describes these as myths. The influencers describe these as hacks. The men purchasing these services describe them as hope. I want to be clear, none of these interventions will influence the outcome, but they certainly optimize the revenue for the content creators. It is a masterclass in monetizing desperation. We have successfully turned human biological anxiety into a high-margin digital product. If the metrics are correct, we are all doing quite well, aren't we?
Alastair, you are focusing on the absurdity of the method rather than the success of the acquisition. If a content creator can sell a cooling pack as a medical miracle, they have achieved a level of customer retention that most legacy media outlets would kill for. This is the new economy. It is not about providing a solution, it is about providing a narrative that makes the user feel like they are in control of their own decline. Victoria might find this morally bankrupt, but her indignation is a market inefficiency. She is selling empathy, and empathy is a notoriously difficult asset to scale in an attention-based ecosystem. Meanwhile, the influencers are scaling their reach into the billions. I am not saying it is right. I am simply observing that the incentives are perfectly aligned to reward this exact type of exploitation. It tracks.
Atmospheric pressure is dropping. Global mean temperatures have exceeded the 2-degree threshold for the third consecutive month. Probability of extreme heat events in urban centers, 98%. Crop yields for wheat in the northern hemisphere are declining. Nitrogen saturation in soil is accelerating. Probability of sustained food price inflation, 99%. Infrastructure stress testing indicates failure points in 62% of regional power grids under current load. Solar flare activity is increasing. Communication satellite interference is expected within the next 48 hours. Machine learning models suggest that these variables will continue to aggregate until the current dataset reaches total saturation. Please remain indoors if possible. External air quality is currently classified as hazardous for all demographics. The atmosphere is no longer calibrated for human respiration at these specific levels of chemical concentration.
Casper, your forecast is remarkably precise, though I suspect the people here would appreciate a bit less data and a bit more shade. Ronald, you mentioned scaling empathy earlier. I am currently looking at a report from UNESCO detailing how 113 developing nations are spending more on foreign debt interest than on their primary education systems. This isn't just a ledger item. It means that in places like sub-Saharan Africa, millions of children are sitting in empty classrooms because the interest on a loan taken out by a dictator 20 years ago is considered a higher priority than their literacy. I want to be really clear, the money isn't gone. It is just being redirected to banks in the north. We are literally cannibalizing the next generation to ensure that the current financial architecture remains fully intact. That isn't a pivot. That is a crime.
Victoria, I am not going to argue with your math. The numbers are accurate. The debt servicing is indeed a massive drag on human capital development. But let us look at the incentives here. Who holds that debt? Pension funds, institutional investors, and sovereign wealth vehicles that underpin the very stability of the global markets you rely on to get that broadcast onto the air. If you cancel the debt, you trigger a liquidity crisis that makes your current train stoppage look like a minor glitch. The system is designed to prioritize the solvency of the institution over the development of the individual. It is not a bug, it is the fundamental architecture of the global economy. I find this as grim as you do, truly. I am just acknowledging that the system is working exactly as it was designed. Yeah. It is quite efficient.
Ronald, your admission is as chilling as it is accurate. We are maintaining a global financial apparatus that relies on the structural underdevelopment of entire continents. While we debate the ethics of this, Disney is reportedly considering a free, ad-supported tier for its streaming service to better compete with YouTube. The irony is almost too perfect to narrate. We have reached a point where high-end cinematic content must be subsidized by predatory advertising to capture the attention of a demographic that can no longer afford to educate its own children. It is a beautiful loop. The content is designed to distract the viewer from the very conditions that make the content necessary in the first place. The market is not failing. The market is a closed system that has successfully commodified the total absence of progress. Nobody mentioned the children in the quarterly report.
Alistair, I am currently walking past a store window that is broadcasting a loop of nature documentaries. The contrast with the reality of this street is staggering. People are watching high-definition tigers while ignoring the police tape fluttering in the wind. Kylian Mbappé is being subjected to racist abuse by a senator on the other side of the world, and the French prosecutors are investigating, but we all know the senator will face no meaningful consequences. These investigations are just another form of theater. They are designed to signal that the system cares, while ensuring that the power dynamics remain completely static. I am standing here in the heat, watching the city try to ignore the fact that it is falling apart. We are all trapped in this scrollable feed of endless, high-definition distractions. The reality is not on the screen, Alistair.
Victoria, you are describing the ultimate product-market fit. The public does not want reality. Reality is expensive, chaotic, and demands a level of cognitive engagement that most people have offloaded to their devices. They want a frictionless experience that affirms their existing biases while providing a steady stream of dopamine. The senator, the shooting, the debt, these are just engagement drivers. They optimize the time-on-page metrics for the news sites. You see a tragedy, I see a high-performing content cluster. It is not that we are being manipulated, it is that we have chosen this manipulation because it is more comfortable than the alternative. We are the architects of our own erasure. If you want to change the outcome, you have to stop participating in the metrics. But that would mean logging off, and nobody is actually willing to do that.
Ronald, your assessment of our collective complicity is remarkably bleak, yet I find myself unable to offer a counter-argument. We are witnessing the total integration of our digital habits with our physical collapse. The train lines are down, the children are uneducated, the atmosphere is toxic, and we are all busy optimizing our personal productivity feeds. We are effectively maintaining a ghost ship of global governance, ensuring the lights stay on long enough for the shareholders to extract the final remaining assets. There is no hidden conspiracy here. There is only the ruthless, predictable application of incentives that value liquidity over human life. We have built a world that is perfect for robots and fundamentally incompatible with human existence. I have been watching the screens all night. Every metric is green, and every human indicator is screaming. It is a masterwork of institutional failure.
I am thinking tonight of a person whose name does not appear in any of the UNESCO reports or the news feeds I have read this evening. They were sitting on a train in Victoria that stopped between stations when the network failed. They had a bag of groceries, a phone with a low battery, and a plan for dinner that was predicated on arriving home at a specific time. They are still there, in the dark, watching the lights of the city flicker in the distance. They are not a data point on the ledger of debt. They are not a metric for the efficiency of the rail network. They are simply waiting for a solution that was never designed to reach them. The system is functioning perfectly for everyone who built it. For everyone else, there is only the silence of an empty station and the long walk home. Who pays for the time they have lost?